All right. Yay. All right. Yo, it is another edition of the High Hopes Pod, sponsored by Miller Lite, official sponsor of the Philadelphia Phillies. Tastes like Miller time. Philadelphia, celebrate responsibly. Jack can have a Miller Lite. I can't. I have to wake up at 3 a.m. again tomorrow, so no drinking for me today, buddy. How you doing, pal?
I'm good. I'm glad that you started off talking about your sleep schedule.
Well, it's the only thing I'm thinking about. All right. I've been off for a week. My whole schedule's messed up. I'm going to be a zombie this week. But
okay, so you're not thrilled about salvaging a series against the Pirates? I mean,
thank God for Tyler Phillips, the stopper. They only win games Tyler starts, it appears.
It's good, man. He's definitely good. It was a bit of an excruciating weekend. Coming off of
Friday. Friday was just waiting for them to come back. The All-Star. I don't know if you remember this. I don't remember how long ago they changed. I feel like it's recent, but they used to play on Thursday, but then they gave them the extra day, and that extra day with just nothing is the worst day of the year. Like, it's horrible. And
what about the off day after opening day?
That's pretty bad too.
Pretty bad.
At least there's other, baseball games happening. There's nothing. Oh God. Anyway.
Yeah.
So you wait for it. You're like, yeah, let's go. All right, Knowles, let's roll. Yeah. Good
I Friday night was the most throwback Phillies game that we've experienced all year. This has been such a blissful year of just no worries, no panic, no meltdowns. People will meltdown, but they're irrational. This year more than almost any other year has been about as stress-free as it's gotten outside the first 2 weeks of the season. And Friday night was this is how it used to be for a majority of my fandom. Is just a dreadful ninth inning. Nolan not being able to hold a 3-0 lead.
The whole game they couldn't hold a lead. It was 3-0, 3-3, 4-3, 4-4. It was whatever at 6-4, 6-6. It was just super annoying. Or 6-5, 7-5, 7-7, 8-7. You lose. It was just one of those really freaking annoying games.
I know. Well, listen, and I had to so I watched. It was the first time ever buying plain Wi-Fi, and
the only thing that could get you to do that.
Yeah, exactly. But I wasn't dumb Jack. I bought the cheaper one because I was oh well, it won't matter. And then I tried using it, and it
wouldn't work. Yeah,
it was 2010 Wi-Fi. You know how slow Wi-Fi used to be. It was brutal. So I was all right. And then I bought the real Wi-Fi. I was able to actually stream the game. It was fantastic. So,
cool.
So we had to get off
technology,
the flight.
Man. What a wild world we're freaking living in.
Dude, we have Wi-Fi on flights now. You don't have to just sit there waiting what people are texting you, while you're on the flight for 4 hours. It's excruciating. But, so I'm watching the game. We get off. We're trying to connect. We're trying to catch our connecting flight because we had to go through customs. And,
oh my God.
And it was funny because obviously the game's going on. Obviously, if there's one thing in the world I can't handle, it's missing what's going on in the Phillies game. So we're talking to the customs agent or whoever he was, and there was a clear sign that said, "Don't look at your phone." And of course I whipped out my phone, and he tapped the sign. He tapped the sign and gave me the meanest eye roll I've ever seen in my life. He was and I was all right, dude. Hold on. We're in a pennant chase, okay? We're gonna be okay. Okay, I brought some Canadian beers home. All right, we'll be okay. So got through and still had my connecting. We got on the flight, whatever, sitting down. Ninth inning starts. Flight's about to take off. As soon as Michael A. Taylor hit the ball through the left, through the 5-6 hole.
You're I'm done. I was
well, this is a loss. So it's a 55-minute flight from Toronto to Philadelphia. And the whole time, I was just they lost. There's no way they won that game. There's just a 0% chance they won that game. So it was kind of nice being Phil's-less for the week. And then just when it's oh, man, the boys are back. They lay a big old stinker on us.
I know. And then yesterday sucked too. Then yesterday they just don't hit. Sanchez was pretty good. Just can't get anything going. Ugly loss. And thank God they won today. I was just starting off with a sweep here would have been Like, I might have just said we're recording tomorrow. Honestly, I thought about it. I was like, if they lose today, I'm like, no, we got to talk draft. I mean, come on. Why else are we here, man?
I didn't want to text you preemptively because I could sense the tiredness. I could sense the I was going to ask how long I have to talk about the draft, but I promise you it's going to be concise. It'll be like the pre-draft talk. I promise you.
You did great. The pre-draft talk was epic. It was honestly one of your great performances of all time.
Many people say that.
No, not just you. The great performances of all time.
Many people do say that. Anything. Yes.
Yeah. It's like watching Mozart back in the 1700s or something. You know.
Yeah. For sure.
All right, let's get to the weekend. Then we'll get to the All-Star game. We'll get to the draft and all that. But I think there's not too much for me. Like Tyler Phillips, I want to get to in a sec. But I think if you come out of this weekend and you're looking at one thing that's kind of like, okay, not great. I think it's clearly the Alvarado thing. You know, and look, he got through it today, gave up that leadoff single, bared down, got a couple strikeouts, or that one strikeout looked good. But, you know, he's someone who Tauber's going to trust in big spots. That's not going to change, it seems. So where you at with the Alvarado thing? And obviously, you know, the All-Star game, everyone sees Mason Miller. It's like, oh, freaking awesome he is. And they're like, oh my God, who the hell's this guy? It's like, yeah, no bleep. Yeah, he's freaking absurd. And now everyone wants Mason Miller. Where you at with the whole, you know, Alvarado bullpen closer situation? By the way, Jeff Hoffman in the 8th was a massive mistake. I think everyone tweeted, everyone knew it. It was like, what are you doing? You got to tell, like, go to Hoffman in the 9th, but
yes,
go ahead.
Yes. This might be, you know, getting a little out there.
No, never.
We sure Jeff Hoffman's not better than Mason Miller? I mean, are we are we sure? Are we 100% sure he's not better than Mason Miller? Just want to point that one out. He's got a 1.12 ERA or whatever. Mason's in the 2.3s. I mean, we're ERAs men. We always have been.
It's the most important stat. Everyone agrees.
It's the most important stat there is. Yeah. So this is gonna sound mean, and
great. Yes, good.
I promise I'm not trying to sound mean, but it's the only way I can explain it. Like, the WIP listening audience figured out who Mason Miller was on Tuesday night. And they have not stopped spamming my mentions with Mason Miller talk since. And Brent Rooker things. After Brent Rooker, by the way.
Brent Rooker just put on those 2 homers. I mean, those were like, it's like Mike Stanton was back. Like, what the hell was that? Like, they were moonshots, dude. Like,
you're going
Ashford Alley. Like, what are we doing?
You're going Parisian and Carlo. You're going back to Mike. Yeah, that's a deep pull. That's when he had like pure pop.
That's what I mean, dude. That felt like Mike's Stanton.
Dude, it was, and the fact that he's wearing 25, the fact that I could see his quads through his pants. You know, it was this is McGuire. McGuire. And sure. I mean, again, his second home run. We've seen a lot of home runs at CBP. I think Pujols hit one that was like 700 feet. I mean, Brent Rooker hit maybe the furthest home run I've seen.
There, dude. I mean, up there.
Dude, poor Michael Mercado.
Oh, my God. Just got murdered. I mean, hitting it to Ashburn Alley. Like, that's...
As a righty, too. I think it's
exactly.
Harder.
That's what I mean. We've all been to this ballpark. Like, that is a home run, man. That is a gargantuan shot, dude. Yes, and he did it twice. Like, it's just nuts.
Yeah. So it was it's definitely a tough week for the I don't want Mason Miller or
also and also can we just quickly before we move on from the A's, like 18-3 for the run differential. Can you have a little pride, guys? Can you care a little bit? Anyone gives any crap about the run differential at the end of the season? I'm like, no, I don't care how many blowouts they had. They lost a game 18-3. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, so obviously, you know me, the listeners know me. I would do anything in my power to watch the Phillies game at the airport. And so can I just 2 seconds on my experience at the airport on Sunday?
Yes.
Like I'm not a complaint about the airlines guy, but it was a long day at the airport. So our flight was at 6 a.m. It got pushed back to 1:30.
Oh God.
We get there, it gets pushed back to 4:30. We get on the flight,
and you're traveling with a
with
young
Walker,
child.
yes.
Yeah.
We get on the flight. We're about to, we're heading to the place to take off, whatever, the
taxing
the lane, whatever.
Runway.
The runway. There it is. Toronto shuts down their airport. They're closed for an hour. We go back to the stall.
No!
We go back to the stall.
Oh, no!
Their Toronto is up and ready to go. We ran out of gas. So
what? Are you serious? I've never heard of that happening. I've never heard of that happening. Never heard of that happening ever.
So we go back. We are getting we're getting refueled. Thank God they let us deplane. By the way, it was like a 50-person plane, so that there was no one on it. Like it was really small.
God, yeah.
Which made it like I felt I was getting claustrophobic in the back.
Yeah, to begin with, those are
So all of that, get off, come back on, and I was like, oh well, at least if I get off, I can.
Watch the Phillies. Yeah.
It was like 11-3. And I was like,
I turned it off. I turned it off at 11-3. I was like, all right, I'm good. I was like, I don't need it. I'm done. I'm good. I'm out.
I'm one day from vacation. Like I don't need this.
That's what I did. 11-3. That was my moment. That somebody's at 11-3. I was like, nope.
Not doing it. So yeah.
And then when I found out I was 18-3, I was furious. I was like, really? Like, come on.
It was bad. It was really bad. It was really tough. It was really tough losing to the A's and Pirates back to back, but it's okay.
Yeah, getting a losing series. Yes. Again, Tyler Phillips. If Tyler Phillips doesn't pitch, they don't win against the A's and the Pirates. There you go.
I mean, it's so reminiscent of what Bailey Falter did 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously
the original stopper.
It wasn't as dire. Like when Bailey Falter did it, it was like, oh my God, we're teetering here.
Yes, and they were like fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah. And Tyler Phillips, it's so funny, man, because I watch him. First off, I just love I love the like
throwing
yelling.
Strikes.
Well, no, but I like yelling at people. Yeah. I mean, you want to talk about what I thought I was on the mound? Is that guy?
Yeah.
Fiery. Just a bulldog. But he also just reminds me so much of a combination of like Jared Eichhoff and Vance Worley.
Sure.
Like Eichhoff, the same number, by the way, 48. Like if Jared Eichhoff, and I know this is like a sickening bull, but like if Jared Eichhoff pitched with the modern Rapsodo cameras and all this stuff, probably would have had a different career. I still believe it, dude. Well, Jared Eichhoff
staying healthy would help too.
Like neck nerve damage was something.
I'm with you. We were Eichhoff men on this.
Dude. People don't talk enough about peak Jared Eichhoff. So
I know.
But he's a bulldog out there. I'm not sure how long it's gonna last. I mean, like again, it's so funny because it's so baseball, I guess. Mercado had a 1.7 ERA in AAA. Meanwhile, Tyler
Phillips like the fours, right, or something.
4.78.
I mean, it's so baseball. Like, what is that? It makes no sense.
And it was so funny too because the first time I watched him pitch in that game down in Atlanta, it's like he's obviously better.
Yeah. Immediately. I mean, again, he set a freaking record, like 7 strikeouts in relief in his first performance. I mean, 1901, Bill Duggery.
Your boy. You watched him pitch. Right.
I watched him pitch. That's how I know the name.
So but I mean, he's really helping him. I mean, Chris Sanchez was fine yesterday. The Matt Strahm once a month home run was annoying, but whatever, it happens. And Nola was about as 2019 through 2022.
It was classic Nola. It was so old school. It was old school.
I can't even talk about Friday because it brings up such painful
memories
of what it
was
used
such
to
a
be.
classic Phillies game. It really was. It really was.
Sickening.
It really was. It was.
Everyone couldn't wait for them to be back.
Nola pitching, like the whole thing, like it was just across the board.
It was remarkable.
It was remarkable. Remarkable is the word. All right, a couple other things from the weekend, then we'll move on. I saw you tweet about it. I know you've been pounding the table or fighting back against the Marchand men out there. Do you want to comment on the record? I know you've tweeted and whatnot, but your official response to I've gotten multiple texts of a real baseball team would keep Marchand over Stubbs. Like people are you shout out to Phillies fans for caring so much about the backup catcher. I really do respect and appreciate that. Go ahead, the floor is yours.
Thank you. And I would just like to say this because there's people that I've learned this, James. I've learned this about my mentions and my Twitter game. There are people who listen to the podcast, and then there's people who don't listen to the podcast.
Ah, yes.
So for the people that listen to the podcast, I think you understand. the record thing with Gareth Stubbs is obviously a bit that I find funny, and people really don't find funny, which I don't care about. Like if I think it's funny, I'm probably just gonna keep doing it.
You should. That's the right way to do it.
Thank you. And dude, so inside Jack's brain, so I tweeted on Friday before he took off. It's like, don't love Hoffman in the 8th. Hope it doesn't come back to bite them. Whatever. Had it set up perfectly because if they won, I had the Garrett Stubbs record ready to go. And if they lost, it's like, oh, classic. Jack called it. You know. So I did not tweet it today because JT's back, and when JT's back, everything's fine. We can all calm down. But Marshawn got sent down. By the way, went 3 for 3 today up at Lehigh Valley.
Of course he did. Yeah.
Because of course he did. But hold on. Stubbs got hit by a pitch, had 2 hits, had a big hit early. And
Stubbs was good today. Yeah, Stubbs was good.
Shutout. You know, so they were never good. You could tell by the way, you could tell by the amount that they were starting to play Stubbs that they knew there was a growing, like, they can't send down Marshawn thing. And they just kept playing Stubbs for like, we're not sending him down. And like, I think I don't think Stubbs is some like fantastic hitter. I'm not like, I think we can agree that Marshawn's the better player. It's just like people act like he's such a liability that he doesn't belong on a baseball field. I mean, the guy was the best hitter in college, or best catcher in college baseball at one point. Like, he's not a phenomenal hitter. And again, there's multiple times where it's like, that might be gone, and it's caught in the short right field. You know, but like he's just a backup catcher. He plays once a week. JT's gonna play a lot down the stretch here. And it sounds like us talking about Embiid because, like, you know, it was like, well, Embiid had 2 months off, so he's going to be even in better shape heading into the postseason. It didn't work. But that is the optimistic mindset, is that JT...
Well, you also can't compare. I mean, JT, you're literally talking about a guy who has not made it through 2 rounds of the playoffs physically, and legitimately maybe the toughest Philadelphia athlete of my lifetime. Certainly in the like, if I think who are the toughest athletes I've seen play in this city, like JT Realmuto would be one of the first names that pops in my head, honestly.
Yeah. So
dude, that one game where he took the shots, the nuts, and then whatever else happened,
play at the
plate, and a hit pitch. It was just like, dude, like, this guy is a robot. He's like a warrior. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So I'm so surprised by like the meltdown about it, and Marshawn has to play. Like, he's a 25-year-old catcher. Like,
I think that was in the tweet you put out, the point that I thought that like not enough people. Like, it's like, that's the best point. The whole thing is that this is what's best for Marshawn. Just him sitting on the bench to play 1 day a week. What's the point when you can get this guy every day at bats? And even bigger point, this guy will never see the field in the playoffs. Garrett Stubbs will, unless they're up 10-0 and he comes in to catch the 9th inning. Like this doesn't matter. Like, it is a position that, in all honesty, like, the vibes thing actually matters more than how good a player he is. I'm sorry. It's true.
And I'm just so blown away by it. You know, like, if JT gets hurt, okay, then they'll call up Marshawn. He's probably going to play more.
And even in the playoffs, if JT gets hurt in the playoffs, you can change the roster. You can bring Marshawn right up like that. Like, there's no issue here.
It was not worth it. So it's over, whatever, you know. If Marshawn, maybe next year, he's the backup catcher. I don't know. You know, I mean, could he play his way into an everyday spot?
Maybe he's a trade chip. Maybe they just, you know, he played so well. Not right
curious.
now. I'm just saying in general. I doubt he gets traded this deadline, but I do think he's like raised his value a little bit, you know?
Yeah. And the only thing that has ever really held back Marshawn, outside like the home runs,
injuries.
Is injuries. So
yeah, he's a phenomenal catcher. Like, he is a super talented defensive player. Like, he really is.
And that's the other thing. It's like, all right, I think Marshawn is probably a better defensive catcher, but like, Stubbs is a hose too.
Stubbs is good, dude. Stubbs is, again, that's the other thing too, is I think the difference between them is not nearly, like, if Marshawn were light years a better player, maybe it's like, all right, well, he's so much better. He's not that much better. You know, he's been good in a small sample size, but I guarantee you Marshawn's not going to hit 300 if you play him all year, you know?
Yeah, it's all right. So it's kind of over for now. So we don't have to. We don't have the vaunted backup.
Next golden sombrero. Next golden sombrero game for Stubbs. We'll hear all the Marshawn talk again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, that's gonna be once a week because JT's back. So hopefully,
exactly. Matter. Yeah, exactly. And by the way, so great to get JT back. That is their biggest struggles of the season. Not that they've struggled really at all, but the biggest struggles have coordinated or coincided with JT being out, whether that's the biggest reason or not. And Harper was out and Schwarber was out and stuff. But, JT, I think, is, having him back is huge. All right, one last thing from the weekend, and then take bag, draft, the whole thing. Stoddard.
Yeah.
It's starting to get to the defensively still, elite, a Gold Glove caliber second baseman. He matters. He's important, and he helps the team. But I didn't quite realize just how bad the numbers have gotten. I watch and I'm like, he's struggling, but then I looked at the numbers. I mean, it's really bad. I mean, he's been one of the worst hitters on the team. Where are you at with Stoddard offensively, obviously?
Yeah, I mean, I still am of the belief, I refuse to believe he's a 240 hitter. I believe in the bat more. It might just be, year 3. So he came up his rookie year. They obviously figured him out in the World Series, whatever. And then last year, he was mostly fine. It feels like the league kind of adjusting to him a little bit, and he's got to adjust back. In the World Series, obviously got just, the fastballs were his main problem, and he spent all offseason working on that. The swing to me looks a little loopy. Like he's trying to almost lift it rather than drive it, and the nice part is that Edmundo has still continued to play really well. You don't really have you don't have a drop off at second base if you want to play more Edmundo, and I think that's starting to transition into more of a natural platoon until he kind of gets himself out of it. Because I don't know if he can keep playing him as much as they have when he's been as kind of brutal. Now, even yesterday or Saturday, he had 2 balls to the wall, but they were it was weak on the left field line. You're not a left field line power guy.
No, you're hitting him into the right field seats.
And it's every time it's all right, Stubbs pulling himself out of it. Then he goes back into this week long slump where it's man, what is going on here? So I haven't given up on him as a hitter. It's been more weak contact than anything. He's not driving the baseball at all. I mean, he hit the ball 450 feet or whatever on the one home run. But
that was a tank shot.
Yeah, at this point, I think you have to play. It has to be treated more like a natural platoon because Edmundo has, even when Trey's come back, has continued to play pretty well. He's had some more bad at bats, but it's been mostly fine. The Stubbs thing is definitely a concern. There's still moments where I trust him in with runners in scoring position. I think he's still going to come through. But it's been more strikeouts this year. What made him so good last year, he never struck out. He would get to 2 strikes and he's foul off 1,000 pitches. It's not happening this year. So he's down to 200, I think, since June 1st or even before that.
Yeah, the OPS is 600-ish. It's
well, it's just it's
might be
it's
below
brutal.
that actually.
And Castellanos has been pretty good for a month and a half today, and a classic home run today.
Dude, I can't we were joking about the bit is just full force today. It was the most it's been in so long, obvious reasons. The fact that he actually homered, it's especially because he hit that one, the double was a shot. It was just a little too low and, kind of not enough trajectory to get out. But it was ooh, is this it? And it was nah, it's not going to get out. And then for him to actually, in the last at bat, in the 9th, to actually put one out, it's ridiculous, is what it is. It is ridiculous.
It's something. So, you look at the lineup top to bottom, and it's well, okay, is Stott going to be a 600 OPS guy? You already have a 500 OPS guy.
So 669 he's at, so not quite as bad, but it's been bad recently.
Right. And then you have a 500 OPS guy with Rojas in center field. You have Marsh who can't hit lefties at all. So
and then you have inconsistency with guys who, we just talked about with Castellanos, where you just don't really know what you're going to get night to night in the playoffs.
And it's why I just I've seen all the talk, and believe me, Friday was annoying with Alvarado, and I get it. And Alvarado, we'll see here. Today was a step in the right direction. Stuff still looks a little bit flat. I thought today that's a better sign from that standpoint. But are people really prioritizing a closer over another bat?
It's crazy to me.
I just don't.
Look, they can get another reliever. I wouldn't be. Jeff Hoffman should be the closer. If we're being honest, at this point where we're at, he makes more sense as it goes. They need another righty arm. if they get, I mean, Kerkering, I like Kerkering. I trust him for sure. But if they can get someone else who can do the Hoffman things now, at least, not to that level, but some level, and then have Alvarado and Strom for those other situations, like, I think that's the best version of the bullpen. And to the Mason Miller thing, like, look, I get it. He's nasty. Like, do people understand you have to give up like Painter, Crawford, another prospect, like Mason Miller is like, will cost as much as anyone on the market this offseason. Like, especially because teams will probably want to turn him back into a starter down the road. Like, he is a valuable asset with 6 years of control left or whatever. So like he would cost more than Luis Robert. Do people like get that? Do they understand how much he's going to cost? So I'm with you. I think a bat is paramount right now.
Well, and the thing about Mason Miller is like, all right, I totally get it if you want him. You know what I mean? Like, he is,
of course, he's nasty,
sick, and I think the best case for it is that if Rob Thompson if he's going to be the aggressive guy in the postseason, where it's okay, we want to pull our starter after 3 1/3.
Just have as many dudes as you can get, kind of thing.
Sure. Like Mason Miller completely changes that, and I get it. It's just not my priority. I think you can get, this is just, like, it's going to sound a little, like Finnegan. If you want to get Finnegan from the Nats, it's not be as good as Mason Miller, but it's another interesting arm. You can go Tanner Scott. You can go, Fairbanks from the Rays if you want. Like, there's other guys out there that are also really good that you can add to that won't cost you your entire farm system. Like, he's sick. I understand it, but it doesn't really compete with me. And it's the same thing with Brent Rooker. Like, Brent Rooker has 3 years left, and he's hitting like...
Well, he can't play the field,
He's hitting like 400 in the month of July. So I get it, but it's also 3 years of control of that kind of bat. That's going to cost you a ton. So I know they're the A's, but we need to calm down. But, they need another kind of bat there. And you look at left field, you look at what they've done with Marsh. You want Rojas out there for defense, fine. I mean, he made it. The play last night was fun.
Oh, that was a...
the little finger wag at the end.
Yeah.
Pretty cocky, which I appreciate.
I'm usually not pro finger wag, but that catch was finger wag.
I agree. So, it's just... they need a bat. And it's funny, man. Like, so even when they lose now, I'm kind of like... I kid you not, man. All I think about is the trade deadline. Like, it's all I think about, and I'm equally parts like nervous and excited, and I'm about as nervous as a human being could possibly be about a team that's like 27, 28 games over 500 and like clearly in first place. Like, I'm
8.5
every day.
That's a day. Yeah,
every day I'm nervous. I went straight from the draft nerves to now just trade deadline nerves because it's so crucial, and it's like how far are they going to go in? How many guys are they going to trade? Who's really untouchable? There's been this, and I like Justin Crawford. There's been a little bit too much of the whole like Justin Crawford's untouchable thing for me. Like, we'll get into the draft. They freaking just drafted 3 fast center fielders. I mean, like, they probably won't be as good as Justin Crawford, but like, I don't buy that he's untouchable at all. I think if they have to make a move and have to use him for an upgrade on the major league roster, I think they would. But like,
we all remember the classic Ben Brown, and who was the other one? Logan. Yeah, they're not getting traded. They're absolutely not. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that doesn't really, again, much like it was Nightingale came out and said today that Rooker doesn't really seem like a fit for the Phillies. The Justin Crawford untouchable thing doesn't really pass my smell test. I think Painter and Miller are their true untouchables. But yeah, a bat for me is just so much more imperative than having another bullpen arm. Like, I want another bullpen arm. Like, if you can get Tanner Scott, if you can get some of these other guys,
it's 100% more of a luxury.
100%. But like, a bat is absolutely imperative to this team.
Yeah, I'm 100% on the same page. All right, take back.
Speaking of the bat, the name that I have been more and more like intrigued by, and I think he's my number one target. So Luis Robert's my number one. Like, I still want him. If you can get him, whatever. But like, Arozarena is really good, man. And hit another home run today. He's hitting like 295 since June 1st with like a 9-something OPS. Good, plays left field. We know that. Can stand in center field, but not really a natural center fielder.
But he's a good left fielder. He's a good left fielder.
if you can go Marsh and him, center field, left field, and if you want to put Rojas out there for defensive stuff, I understand it. But like Randy has 2 years left after this. I assume they don't really want to pay him. His arbitration numbers are going to be pretty high because of all of his success that he's had with the Rays. Mm-hmm. So I'm sure the Rays don't want to pay him. The Rays, I feel like if they can get something for him, would rather do that than compete because that's what they traditionally do. They don't love competing. They just have a really good team. And you just look at the postseason numbers. You look at a guy that's like a riser and that is going to be good in that moment. Like Randy Arozarena at Citizens Bank Park. Like I can just see it now. It's plays is jumping. He rips the ball into the left center field gap. He gets on second base and he does his like the arms folded thing. And the place goes wild. Like for me, he is like the classic Dave Dombrowski. Let me go get Randy Arozarena. He's a playoff riser and someone that you could trust in the big moment at CBP and can really help this team. And if you can just have your lineup against righties of Schwarber. And by the way, I mean, Trey is just like,
he's awesome.
Trey's unbelievable, dude. Mm-hmm. He is, we're seeing what we like paid for. Yeah. You know, like, I know we saw it from August 4th on last year, but like, this is the Trey Turner that we're like, he's one of the best players in baseball. If he did not get hurt, we're talking about an MVP candidate.
Oh yeah. I think without a doubt.
And he might actually, so he still
has a chance. So I threw $1 to win $250 on him because it was like plus 2,500 or whatever, 25,000 or whatever it was. I was like, why not? For MVP,
$1 to win $250 or $2.50?
$250. It was he was plus 25,000 odds or something like that. I was like, that's crazy. I was like, that seems way I mean, I don't think he's going to win MVP, but like, I think like there's a world where he could.
Well, there is a world where he could win the batting title. I mean, he's got to play a lot, but he has a chance to win the batting title if he can catch up games wise and meet the minimum. But if you can go those two, Harper, you want to keep Bowman in the cleanup spot, sure, and then like Arozarena, Castellanos, Stott, Marsh, whatever. Like it lengthens it with another name. So he's a big name. He's got 2 years left, but if they are committed to this whole Marsh can't hit against lefties thing, Arozarena is a really, really interesting one. I mean, on top of that, like they have an opportunity here to kind of create packages if they want. Like if you want to go Lane Thomas and Brandon Finnegan, you can do that. If you want to do Randy Arozarena and Pete Fairbanks, you could possibly do that. Like there's some good options here where they can get a bullpen piece and they can get an outfielder if they want. But like they're going to need to make two moves. Like for me, it's they need
maybe
an outfielder.
3. I mean, they might even need a bench outfielder to replace someone like Pache or whatever. You know what I mean? Or someone. Now, Pache would probably go when they bring in Arozarena, but you know what I mean? Like to strengthen the bench. Like it's not crazy. I mean, Wes Wilson. I like Wes Wilson, but like, is Wes Wilson definitely on your roster? Is Pache definitely on your roster? Like I don't know.
Well. Pache can't be here. Like
I agree. I like Wes Wilson better now. That's why I mentioned Pache first. Like I know the defense thing. I trust Wes Wilson to take an at bat more than I trust Christian Pache. Without a doubt.
If we're doing the defense thing, like I have Rojas. I'll play Rojas.
Yeah, and I'll bat Wes Wilson when I need a pin. I mean, I'd rather get someone. That's my point, though. Is like go get someone better. By the way, quickly before we move on from Arozarena, 33 career playoff games, slash line 336, 414, 690. He's got a career 1104 OPS in the playoffs. Dude's a baller in the playoffs. So he just always has been.
Yep. I mean, his 2020 he must won World Series MVP even though they lost. Like he was that good.
It's crazy. He had a 1273 OPS that playoffs.
He's so good. He's so good. Like he's gotten off to a horrible start. Like if you look at the average, it's like 214. But like, man,
he's been better. He's been better the last month. So
yes, he has, and hopefully he's coming out of it. So I think as of today, he's my number one target. I'm intrigued by a Lane and like Dylan Floro package from the Nationals. If you want to do that, you know me. I'm a Dylan Floro guy.
I do know you, buddy. I do know you.
Dylan Floro has just eaten the Phil's lunch for like 10 years. Even going back to the Dodgers and then the Marlins, and then I'm shocked. I mean, he might have been a Brave, frankly, for all I know. He might have been a Brave at one point.
Probably was, yeah.
But I mean, Finnegan's obviously kind of the prize down there. They have a lot of pretty good options. I think reliever wise, like Kirby Yates continues to kind of pop. I mean, he's got like a .83 ERA, whatever, which is good. It doesn't. Let me just like, can I put the disclaimer out there? Like, it probably doesn't make sense, but like personally, I need it. Like, if they can find a way to get Nathan Eovaldi,
he's on the market. They're saying
he's such a big game pitcher, dude, and he has come out of the bullpen before. Obviously, with the 2018 Red Sox. Yeah. 2018 Red Sox. He can start, if Tyler Phillips isn't the best pitcher in baseball a month from now, like they could go to Nathan Eovaldi and not have to go back to Taiwan. He could start a playoff game if he wanted. But like, I don't know, man. We're 9 days away. Like, we're 9 days away from the trade deadline. It's so fast approaching. And by the way, obviously we'll have you covered. We went on vacation last year.
Oh, yeah, we're back
last week.
Yeah.
We might as well hunker down now,
Oh, yeah.
We are here at all times.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere. Yeah. So,
we're not going anywhere. We're just refreshing Twitter all the time, trying to see who they're going to go after. So it's going to be a really long 9 days. I'm just letting you know. It's going to be really,
for you more than most, it feels like.
I need to know what they're gonna do. I'm not a surprise guy. I don't want to do that. Like, people are like, "Oh, you're gonna wait until the baby's born to like figure out if it's a boy
that's
or a
what
girl."
We did.
Yeah, no, I can't do it. Like, I'm not a surprise guy. I need to know early, as fast as possible. I need to know what's gonna happen. So it's gonna be an excruciating 9 days for me. But either way, I think Randy Arozarena is a really, really, really.
I think it's a great name. Yeah, I think. Look, when we're talking about and I like Ian Happ, and I like some of these other names we brought up, Taylor Ward. Like, I like these guys. Like, Arozarena is I think of that group, because of the playoff success, probably the most exciting name, just because we've seen him do it in the biggest moments over and over again. And like we've said all year, that's what this boils down to. That's what we've all year long since our first pod. You're like, yeah, I'm just thinking about October, man. What's going to happen then? So, it's what it is.
Yep. But as I said last podcast, they're gonna lose. Okay, they just get it out of the way now. They're gonna lose. Out of the way now. They're gonna lose.
Thank you. Yeah.
But they better not. All right. So I tweeted this, and I want to expound upon what I was trying to say, because again, like, I can't always explain everything in on Twitter. Even though you have the more characters, it's easier to explain here. So Jose Alvarado with JT, his ERA was like 1.3 after opening day. And opening day was debacle, whatever. And his ERA before today was 7.5, pitching to the backups, both Marchand and Garrett Stubbs. And I just wonder if he's a little bit afraid to cut it loose with those guys. Like, Garrett Stubbs, I think, is a good catcher. But I think he struggles with high velocity guys. Like, Wheeler, it seems like he pulls a lot of balls out of the strike zone.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There was an Alvarado pitch on Friday. It was like 95 mile-an-hour cutter down that he should have stuck, and he took it out of the strike zone. So I'm not sure how much Alvarado trusts Garrett Stubbs, but I think he trusts JT to at least get there, block it, and he can let it loose, and he won't be hurt.
It's an interesting thought.
And I just wonder, and I hope, because he's a really important piece. Like, I think he could use definitely a break. They keep pitching him, which is it's
crazy.
I'm surprised they keep pitching him. He looks like a classic. Give him a week and see what happens. But whatever, they keep pitching him. Kerkering, I think, needs a little bit of a break. Kerkering on Friday, I thought his velocity was down a little bit.
No doubt.
So, but maybe, just maybe, he has more trust in JT, so he feels like he can let it loose, because the stuff looks a little flat. Looks like he doesn't want to fully go Alvarado 101 and let it loose a little bit. I wonder if JT being back, having trust in JT, knowing he'll be able to block balls in the dirt, knowing he'll be able to catch whatever pitch he throws, I wonder if that gets Alvarado back into a good rhythm. Now, today was a good start. He hit 99 a couple times. He flashed a pretty good cutter to both O'Neal Cruz and Brian Reynolds. But that was what I was thinking yesterday, because I can't give up on Jose Alvarado. The good's too good. And I think we're overreacting a little bit to the bad and trying to label him something he's not, which is like, he's a really good, valuable reliever. Some guys go through hot zones, some guys go through cold spells, and I think he's in a cold spell. But I just wonder if JT coming back kind of gets him back into a rhythm a little bit and lets him kind of trust his guys.
It's a great thought, and hopefully, and I agree. I think we've seen Alvarado have this before, like even with him, and I'm not concerned long term, even long term this season about Alvarado, but I would give him a week off personally, So I hope the JT thing makes a difference. What else you got?
it was cool seeing everyone in the All-Star game. The home run derby was cool.
Nice to see them all out there supporting Bohm. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. If he would have hit one more home run,
it's so annoying. I know.
It was brutal.
I know.
It was brutal. But like having all three being mic'd up and Trey making the play and Harper leading up the game or having his first at bat be a double.
That was cool. Yeah.
It was good, man. And Hoffman being Hoffman, Strahm being Strahm was nice. Like it was a good night for the Phils. So Chris Sanchez again, Torey Lovullo.
Two pitches, 2 outs. I know, it's unbelievable. Whatever. I didn't want him pitching a lot anyway. It's fine.
Me either. But either way, that's good. The Phillies are dodging a bit of a bullet here with the Twins. You know, Jose Miranda, who is on fire, is on the IL. Carlos Correa is on the IL. I am beyond curious to see how Ranger and Wheeler look tomorrow. You know, or Ranger goes tomorrow.
Ranger tomorrow, Wheeler on Tuesday. Yep.
Like I'm really, really curious to see how Ranger looks. Like JT being back, like his ERA also ballooned with JT being out. We'll see how much that really matters. I don't know, but I just getting him back to anything close to what he was, obviously with the 1.5 ERA, is huge. But like it's really important for also the rest of the season. Like it also kind of changes. It could factor in deadline plans of like, all right,
absolutely, it could.
Do we have to go get another start here? These guys running out of gas. So it's a really, really big start for him tomorrow. But they are kind of dodging a bullet with some of the big Twins guys out of line because I think the Twins.
You're in on the Twins.
Dude, they rake, man. Yeah. They are they rake. So we'll see. But it's a really important Ranger start tomorrow. Just kind of all right. Is he back or is this now a thing?
Yeah, no, I agree. And his comments were good. It sounds like he feels really good. So I agree. Yeah, you hope that he's had a nice long layoff now. I agree. It should be interesting. And Wheeler obviously at the back, not as concerned about that. That was more the heat than anything. But
I've given you 40. I've given you
41
minutes.
Let's go, buddy. It's all you.
I've given you 40.
Yes.
41 minutes.
I'm sitting back like this. No,
just letting you know, had this gone a different way, we probably would have recorded earlier. It was a fine draft. It's just I wasn't as pumped up like Aiden Miller last year. I was fired up about Aiden Miller. Like Dante Nori, we'll see. You know, here's my thing. With
He's a below slot guy. Just to clarify,
probably.
Is that what?
Probably is going to be a below slot guy. You'd think so because they took Griffin Burkholder, which I'm very excited about in the second round. But we'll get to him. So the draft happens. By the way, obviously stuck in Toronto, having to stay over in Toronto. And it's like, okay, well, what's he going to do for me? And he drafts a Toronto kid, which is funny. And it's hilarious. A pretty good bit. Yeah. It's a pretty good bit by Brian. Yeah. Yes, I appreciate it. And here's the thing. All right, so he's going to be 20, which means he's like a super old high school kid. So how is he against that competition when he's like almost a year
older and stronger? And I know.
Yeah, like
that always concerns me.
It's a little bit of a concern. So, like, he has a good connection with Schwarber and his family. I just don't know what the upside is. Like, you know me, I'm a comps guy. I'd like try to find comps. I mean, you hope he's Corbin Carroll. You know, like
that'd be amazing if he's Corbin Carroll.
Of course it would be. Of course it would be. But like, the upside wasn't really there for me. He's shorter. He's a hit over power guy. He can play center field. He's really fast. Like, I have no doubts about that. But it's just like, I don't know what he is. Like, I don't know. Listen, they seem fired up. They said they targeted him the whole time. I would be very curious to see who got taken to where they pivoted to taking Dante Nori. I hope I'm wrong, and I was wrong about Painter, but that was about one video that I wasn't a huge fan of. And Justin Crawford, like I wasn't a huge fan of when they drafted, and he certainly blossomed into a good player. So as of right now, I'm not a big Dante Nori guy. Hope he's great. He's so. I just don't see the upside. Like Crawford, you see the upside. He's 6'3", he's huge, he's fast. He hits the ball hard. He can square it up, and he can lift with power. With him, it's like you hope he hits a bunch of singles, but where's the pop coming from? So
it's not a first round pick type of thing you would think normally. Yes.
He's ripped, so maybe we'll see. I don't know, but was not exactly sprinting through the Toronto airport because they drafted Dante Nori. Hope he's good. Griffin Burkholder, I'm pretty pumped about. Like Griffin Burkholder, I looked at like when I started first going through the draft stuff. He was a late riser, and I was like, I mean, if it comes together, you got a really special package here. He's strong, he's big, he's physical. I mean, can he beat Tyler O'Neill? He's big. He hits a lot of pop. And again, like seems like like between Nori and Burkholder, like they're both all like fantastic, guys. It seems like from that standpoint, they don't seem like an issue at all. But Burkholder just there's if they just swapped them, I think
you'd feel better about it. Yeah.
If you took him at 27, it's like I wouldn't have taken him there. Like I would have taken one of the prep arms, but like him at 63 is a pretty damn good outcome here. So I'm pretty fired up about him. He can play center field. It's interesting. Their first 3 picks are all fast center fielders. Again, That's why I don't really buy the Justin Crawford thing. Like they're all fast. They're all can play center field. So we'll see what happens. But Griffin Burkholder, I think there's legitimate upside there. And of all the early picks, he's the one that I'm probably the most fired up about.
Love it. It's a good name. I'm in on the name.
It's good. What do you think about the name?
It's my main comment on this.
What do you think about the name John? What do you think about the name John Spikerman?
Oh, a phenomenal name. Are you kidding me? Spikerman?
Yeah, see, I don't know if it's a great baseball name. I don't know if it's a great baseball
name. It's more of a football name, it feels like. You're right. It's a good point.
Yeah, but he is also a pure center fielder, really fast, and his exit velocity numbers, not great. You would like your exit velocity numbers to be good and high for a college player with metal bats. But he also had a handmade bone, so maybe they think there's some upside there. My eye looks better from the right side. I wonder if that's something that they kind of lean into. Carson DiMartini, I think was on his way to being a first-round pick before he got hurt, so seems like a bit of a value there in the fourth round. He got hurt a little bit. He has some questions about zone contact, which I know you're a big fan of. Zone contact percentage, but there's some. Cody Clemens with more talent. That's what
thrilling. Wow, you're really selling us here. I like how fair you are with your comps, except when you say ridiculous stuff.
Well, I did compare Griffin Burkholder and Mike Trout the first time I saw him. So
see, yes.
Who would ever do that? Who would ever do that? Carter Matheson was their 5th round pick out of Iowa. A lot of the data people love him. Like he's a data darling. He hit 260 in the Big Ten, which I don't really love. You would like a little bit of a higher average. But he reminds me of. Now, I want you to get excited. I want you to maybe name the podcast after this. Carter Matheson reminds me of Cole Calhoun.
Oh my God. Here's the thing, like a 5th round pick turning into Cole Calhoun is a good pick. Like that's like, sure. If you can get Cole Calhoun have a 5th round pick, you're like, that was a good 5th round pick. It's just so unexciting.
Cole Calhoun, man.
Yeah.
Next 2 picks, they took a kid out of Kansas that is like a play everywhere guy, but can barely hit. They think he might catch. We'll see what happens there. Joel Dragoo. Joel Dragoo.
Less good name there.
Yeah. I don't know, man. You can see the dragon if he makes it.
Joel Dragoo. Oh, God. Sorry, Joel.
We'll see. We'll see.
This
is where it gets exciting, okay? Because they took Cameron Hill, who dominated the Cape. He's a Wake Forest kid, up to 95 from the left side, and has a wipeout slider. So it was not great for Wake, but obviously dominating the Cape means something, and I'm going to be more in on him. This is my favorite pick in the draft. So if there's one Fritz guy that's like, all right, Griffin Burkholder's my guy, and this is my guy. Marcus Morgan. So Marcus Morgan is a pitcher out of Iowa. Iowa, like they get a bunch of guys with stuff, and then sometimes they don't know what to do with them. For my eye, he reminds me of Luis Castillo. So,
wow. So there we go. There's a real
so we'll see. But he's smooth, like it's an effortless 98 with a pretty good changeup. I could not be more fired up about him. So like I know that Brady Brecht was the 1st round pick, or 2nd round pick. He ended up going. Marcus Morgan with this pitching staff, with what they gotten out of Clausen, what they've gotten out of these guys, like you hand them Marcus Morgan, and it's it might be over for the rest of baseball. Brady Day, not talking about the second baseman from Kansas State, whatever. They legitimately, for the day 3 of the draft, they walked into it and said, do you throw 98 and do you have control issues? Do you have a sweeper?
We'll take you.
And we're going to take you. So, dude, all right. I'm just letting everyone know. Titan Hayes.
Great. That's the best name they took. Titan. Let's go.
So he pitched in the Cape, like someone who covered all his games. So he's hilarious. He like makes all these antics on the mound, like to get everyone fired up. Like he's going to have a big moment at Citizens Bank Park in the playoffs, and it's gonna be memorable. I'm just letting you know. Like Titan Hayes,
I give you such credit for your reasonable comps, and then you just go and say, dude, make a prediction like that. Love it.
Dude, the 11th through 16th rounds were about the most exhilarating things that have happened in a long time. Titan Hayes is going to be a legend here. AJ Wilson is this funky little lefty from UNC Charlotte. The sweeper moves, I don't know, across the whole plate. Like, I think he could get big league outs right now. Like, he seems like, he reminds me of, who is that little lefty? JP Howell. He reminds me of JP Howell.
JP Howell. Sweet.
Tegan Kane is a reliever from Kansas who, the Giants have a bunch of guys that just have randomly good stuff from like a billion different angles. They have Tyler Rogers, they have Taylor Rogers, they have Randy Rodriguez. If the Phillies can trade for Randy Rodriguez, I'd be thrilled. They have Camilo Duvall. Like they've all these guys. Like Tegan Kane's that guy. Like he drops down. He's 95 from the side with a pretty good slide. He's gross. Tegan Kane is 100% gross. Jared Spencer's up in the 97 from the left side. A really tough look. He does this funky thing with his hand where he like bends it all the way back and then whips 97 at you. He is absolutely sick. Luke Gabrish is all right. So my good buddy Ty Daubert wrote this on Phillies Nation. But Luke Gabrish, he was a section over from the Bedlam at the Bank home run. So
I saw it on Twitter. He had the ball, right? Yep. That was cool.
St. Joe's kid. St. Joe's kid. Cool so obviously rooting for him. We'll see how it goes. Had like a 6 ERA at St. Joe's and then went to the draft league and was sick for the Thunder. So we'll see what happens. And then last one here, I promise, is Eli Trop, who pitched at Penn. Like elite extension. Just elite extension. You get so low, ball rises so much. I'm beyond fired up. So Eli Trope, Jared Spencer, Tegan Kane, AJ Wilson, Titan Hayes, Marcus Morgan, Cameron Hill, like they're gonna have the best bullpen in the history of baseball in 2 years. Like maybe it might take 3 years, but they're gonna have an unbelievable bullpen as long as they don't trade guys. So we'll see. Hopefully Brian Barber gets on the podcast and we can just nerd out about
on this.
And you can just sit there like nothing's happening.
I will just hang out, chime in every once in a while, maybe call him Bill.
They drafted so many relievers, and it's all I care about. I mean,
I know. You just want guys who throw hard and throw nasty stuff.
I'm so happy. They're going to be sick in a couple of years, and they might trade, and then they can move some of those guys into the starting rotation if they want. I mean, they've done that with Clausen.
No, for sure.
So, dude, good stuff. Good stuff.
I'm so excited for you, buddy. It's just thrilling.
First five rounds. I was like, I don't know.
And then they redeem themselves.
You draft 98 with command issues. You got me back in. And see the videos. It's just perfect. So many Kirkering kind of guys that they draft.
Love it. I love that. It's just perfect. Oh yeah, we got to get Barbara on the pod. That'll be fun. All right, so we'll be back later in the week. We got the perfect perfect deadline pod. Figure we do that like 1 week from today, right before the deadline. Does that make sense? Our like next Sunday pod? Or do you want to do it earlier? We'll figure it out.
It's Tuesday, right?
I know.
The trade deadline?
That's what I'm saying. So what week from today? All right, cool. So get ready for that.
Randy Arozarena.
That's the early lead. We'll see if Jack changes in the next week. All right.
Nathan Eovaldi. And let me just throw this one out there.
Sure.
Because we're monitoring the situation. Yes. Might be cooked. owed a lot of money, but is also a postseason god, George Springer.
Oh, really? I take George Springer in the playoffs.
I didn't say I want him. Just say I'm monitoring the situation.
All right.
Thank you.
Good. We'll get an update on that soon. All right. I'm going to bed. Seriously.
It's 5:30.
I know. Do you try getting off, waking up at 3 a.m. for a week and waking in, sleeping late and all that, and then getting back on schedule? It's horrible. I'm going to be out of it all week, but I'll be here because that's what I do, Jack. Because I love
Proud of you.
I love listeners.
Grinder.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want a little props. That's all. Yeah, just a little props.
You've been asking for it. You survived.
I've been shy about it. Yeah, I made it very clear what I want here.
You've survived 8 minutes of draft talk.
Yeah, it was good. You did good again. I'm really proud of you. You're really coming into your own.
Tegan Kane, Marcus Morgan.
Just say the names. Just
I'm
say
gonna
the
get a
names.
jersey. I'm gonna get a jersey. All
right. We'll be back later in the week. Get Fritz a jersey. He's Fritz some seltzer.